This year, after observing all the increases that have occurred, after listening to all of the projections that are going to occur, I think that it becomes more and more obvious that there are going to be a lot of people that are going to be looking at a healthcare plan and saying, this plan isn't working. Let's just take the CFO, for example. The CFO is looking at certainly the money side of things. And if they've tracked the cost of their plan over any period of time, you're going to see a chart that goes, just is rising exponentially from a cost standpoint. And I think just in general, as a human being, you're going to understand that, there's not an awful lot of difference in the care that people are getting today than they were before this increase started so significantly. Something must be off. You can't sit there and say, well, but we've cured cancer or we've made this situation much better than it's been. I don't think that anybody thinks that the situation is better than it's been from a delivery of healthcare standpoint. Again, I don't hear anybody at any level that doesn't have some significant complaint about how they've been treated by the healthcare system in the last X number of months. The more you go along, the more time passes, the worse the experience of the delivery of healthcare feels to people. I mean, it just gets worse and worse. If you're not having this positive experience and you're seeing these costs go up and the complaints go up, you're more motivated to do something about it. I think that there's more interest in healthcare conversation today than there has been in a long time. Once you have diagnosed the problem, now you've got to do something about the problem. And now you're going to need to present this. So if it's the CFO, they're going to have to present this to the management committee. Even though they are in charge of finances, and this is a big impact on finances, they still have to present this to other people. Likewise, if it's HR that's trying to do this, they're going to have to present this to other people. And again, let's grasp the fact that this is, in every instance, it's a cost problem. There are no instances out there where this isn't a cost problem. Oh, gee, we've had flat rates for the last, X years. That just isn't the case. It's a cost problem. Now you probably have an advisor that you've been dealing with for some length of time, and maybe that advisor hasn't been talking about these problems. Now we've got somebody that you play golf with 3 or 4 times a year, and it's a little uncomfortable. So how do we get into these conversations? And the best way to do that is to just ask some questions. So find out some situations that are occurring inside of your plan that don't make sense. There's something going on in there that's not making some sense. Maybe you've had 2 people that have had the same thing and one of them cost $50,000, one of them cost $250,000. Why would that be the case? Or again, it can be a lot of different things, but look for some situations that don't make sense. Prepare yourself a little bit and then ask your advisor the simple question, why is this? It just doesn't make sense to me. Why is this happening like this? And, why does this location have costs that are here while this location has costs that are significantly different than this? Why did these 3 people seem to have something similar going on, and this one's spending this amount of money and this one's spending a much lower amount of money or much higher amount of money? Can you explain that to me? What would be causing that? And if you are not getting answers that make sense, then it's time to dig a little deeper. And let me just go through some of the things that you might look for. The first thing I'd look for is the same provider creating these questionable situations. All right, so if everybody went to Dr. Jones, or everybody that went to Dr. Jones had this and this, okay, and there's a number of people in that circumstance, that's the red flag. I'd start to ask questions about that. I might try to look and see what can we find people on the plan that look like they have similar situations but have different results. So maybe this person has this particular condition and they spent this much money, and this other person has this particular condition, and they spent quite a bit more money or quite a bit less money. What do we see some explanations of that, of why that's occurring? That, do we see some just pure outliers? Are there, I mean, again, you look at a plan, you're going to have 4 or 5 people, or top 1 or 2% of your people are going to be spending a lot of money. What are they spending the money? What is this for? What are the situations? And again, and maybe digging a little deeper. A lot of it's drugs, and digging a little bit deeper on those drugs and say, does this drug really have to be used? Okay. Again, we go into my dancing in the field drugs that, oh, okay, we're going to take this drug and everything's going to get wonderful again. Well, that's always a brand name drug. Okay. And is there a generic equivalent? Is there a bioequivalent if it's a specialty pharmacy drug, or a biosimilar, I think they call it? So look for, are there alternatives, and why aren't people using those alternatives? Did they try that alternative before we got onto this expensive drug? Look for those kind of situations. Look for the differentials. Look for the outliers. Look for the things that don't look right. And then the second thing to look for is, what do you see a lot of? What do you see a lot of similarities in? Are there a whole series of claims that look kind of close to each other? And if they look like they're kind of close to each other, is there a commonality that you can find within those claims that would tell you there's something that you ought to be looking at? Like they all have the same doctor, or they all went to the same hospital, or something along those lines. These are various things that you can get some attention paid to the health plan by the rest of your team. If you can come in and say, hey, we found this and this, that'll get the attention of the rest of the team. You present those examples to the management committee, finance team, then just let them sit and see what they think. See if they think that this requires some looking into. You might take those findings, and in the next meeting that the broker or your advisor comes to, you bring up those topics to that broker advisor and say, okay, here are some things that we've observed that we have questions about, and see if they run with it. And start to pull information together. Don't gather a lot of it. Gather a few things that make this look like something that is a deviation, that is a situation that needs to be addressed. I think if you get to the point where you put your facts out there and people don't react to them, they don't take action on them, that you're likely in a situation where nobody's going to take action on these. At this point in time, they're going to let the costs go up. They're going to probably do the same things they've done in the past. They're going to raise the deductibles and the out-of-pocket costs for the people. They're going to raise the contributions. The company's contributions are going to increase. And until that situation gets untenable, the situation is going to stay like that. At some point in time, they're going to say, wow, we just can't go any further than this. There's a lot of companies out there that are at that spot right now saying that we just can't go any further than this. But I know for a fact it's not every company that feels that way. There's plenty that are out there that are just going to stay with the status quo. And if that's the type of organization you're in, you just have to realize it and live with it until the event occurs that causes them to start to say, hey, no more. It's human nature. I think it's how we all live all of our lives, that we will make changes when we just can't tolerate the status quo anymore. And that's just human nature.